We check out the Touring Car Masters grid. The first win for Greg Ritter and for a Chevy Monza yesterday starts from pole position. John Bowe joins him on the front row. Glenn Seaton and Jim Richards on the second row. Eddie Abelnika and Stephen Johnson on row 3. Paul Freestone and Mark King, Andrew Miedeke and Jason Gomersall inside the top 10. The two Garwoods start side by side for this race today. The father and son combination, Nigel Benson and Leo Tobin on the 7th row, down to Rory O'Neill and Andrew Fisher. Wayne Mercer, Tony Karanfilowski won't start today, and Cam Tilley with dramas aboard the Pacer. So, cars on the formation lap right now. We're doing some mind games happening on the front row between Ritter and Bowe. Great to see Ritter break through for a win yesterday. Lots of fans here today, over 65,000 people here in Adelaide, taking in Fast Friday of the Clipsal 500 yesterday. Today promises to be even bigger with two 125-kilometre races and very high temperatures. Now, the drivers have been recommended by the category manager today to have the windows down to make sure they keep nice and cool behind the wheel. Ritter alongside Bowe. Seaton and Richards on the next row. Great effort from Glenn Seaton this weekend, scoring his first pole position in Touring Car Masters. Coming up to the Adelaide hairpin for the second race of this weekend's Touring Car Masters Series opener. The slow build-up, looking for side-by-side stuff as they come down. Ritter, good moment here for the Tony Hunter Chevy Monza. Bowe ready to pounce. Look at Seaton, wait for him to fan out. And we're underway for race number 2 of the 2016 Touring Car Masters. Heading down to the centre chicane for the first time. Chad Naylon joins me in commentary for race number 2, and Bowe just clipped that tyre wall. I think he might have heard the Tirana.
Oh, he's limping, isn't he, up towards turn 4. It's the perfect start for Ritter. We thought he might be strong here. Hoosier tyre squealing under brakes down over the bumps.
He's dropping back the field. That's Abelnika going past. And look at the steering wheel. It's sad. It's taken a knock, and that's a shame for the multi-time champ whose pole position record came to an end yesterday. There's Paul Freestone going side by side with Jason Gomersall in the IC Tirana.
Oh, yeah. So his championship campaign last year didn't kick off all that great either. Then he missed round 2 altogether, sunning himself in Fiji at a Dunlop conference. Still won the championship anyway, so if anything, this is going to make life a bit more interesting. Now, how's this car going to go through turn 8 with steering damage? If it's right hand down, it should be too bad. But he's slow, and Stephen Johnson, a guy who idolises John Bowe, is going to maybe sneak up the inside at turn 9.
Stacking the field up, isn't he? You can see Mark King as well. Gomersall on the outside with Andrew Miedeke on the exit of the turn 9 hairpin. Wonder if he's going to nurse this car home. He needs points, but the field is stacking up to take John Bowe out. The Wilson Security Pace Tirana. Look, it looks weird on the front left, doesn't it?
And when it put the weight on the left front tyre, you can actually see it moving around. It's really hurt. He needs safety cars here to eat up some laps. The Tirana is definitely in a bad way. You can see the steering angle, trying to drive in a straight line. And he's got a good amount of angle over to the right-hand side. It's limping around all right.
But if anyone can drive a car that's wounded, it's John Bowe as he just glances the centre chicane curves this time and out to Wakefield Street. It's Ritter with a 3/10 margin over Glenn Seaton. Richards is next, then Abelnika back to Bowe and Johnson. We're watching now at the top of Wakefield Street.
So the team need to tell Stephen Johnson that Bowe's car is hurt. Let's have a look at this start. It lasted all of about 270 metres before the trouble started for John Bowe right at frame in the Tirana.
There's a bit of mind games going on the parade lap when they were coming down to turn number 9. The field spread out then.
Smoking the tyres. It's almost like a NASCAR restart. Watch out for the pickle bundle, as we've called him this weekend. That's what he ended up hitting.
This will be, it didn't look like a very big hit from outside the car, but watch the steering wheel.
Oh yeah. Oh, and straight away. He's on the radio almost instantly to say, heard it.
So I correct myself, it was a big hit from the outside, evidenced by his wheel. He'll have a sore wrist later on today.
Here it is again. These super slow-mo cameras make it look worse than it can sometimes. Oh, it's the actual wheel that hit it flush.
Bang on.
Wow, okay, that's why it was so direct. The bumper, no other part of the car took that hit. It was absolutely the Hoosier tyre that whacked it.
Careful not to hit Ritter as well on the way through. So the first 4 starts to spread away here. Ritter doing a fantastic job this weekend behind the Tony Hunter Chevy Monza.
Tilly again.
Oh, man, I can't stress enough how much this car is a mystery to them. So much so they changed the oil lines and all the piping on this car last night, and they still can't find it.
That's a big job on an old Valiant. It's amazing they even made it back out for the race, and they deserve better than that, unfortunately. Not a good result for them, and they'll limp into the pit lane. This is the lead pack. Ritter from Glenn Seaton, Jim Richards, Eddie Abel-Nisa. Just a couple of huge names in this front four.
And Ritter himself, a name. Been around for a long, long time. Co-driver at Bathurst for many years. And now finds a nice home in Touring Car Masters in 2016. And my goodness, he got some history behind him.
On debut at Phillip Island in this car was really strong. Picked up a couple of good results there. Started rear of field in one race and came ripping through the field. How about Seaton playing the defensive game at the end of the big long straight? Jim Richards no chance to find a way up the inside, and Seaton driving like that. Very defensive.
Very courteous too. He's driving between the lines on the Kettleville Terrace too. In behind the racecourse section, the downhill part of the Adelaide circuit. Doesn't look like much on television. You watch him come around behind the back of the pits here.
Glenn Seaton and Jim Richards would have raced as part of the support category for the Formula One Grand Prix back in the day when the Australian Touring Car Championship raced here, non-championship racing.
Bow, in fact, won the last 4 support races here before the event moved to Melbourne back at the end of the 95 year. Andrew Fisher down the inside of Garwood here in the number 12 Tirana heading out of the final turn. So Fish was a fair way down the field. He's up to 12th position now.
Doing a really nice job picking through this field. Back over the centre chicane. The battle a bit further up the field. Stephen Johnson here. And he's got his hands full with Mad Andy.
Just the names in this category are awesome alone. They're originally called the NZ Touring Car Masters for a reason. And Johnson aboard this car this week, and there was a rush job to get this out there. We were expecting to see in Mustang Sally, and also in the late-minute deal with Tony Karanfilowski sees it behind the wheel of the Pete Gagan tribute car, if you will.
Yeah. Gagan-esque, old-school retro paint job on this car. Richards says, Cito, you can drive defensive, mate, but I'll still find a way through under brakes. Seaton wants to argue the point. He'll be on the outside for a pair of laps. That's not going to work. The Mustang will have to fall back into third.
Abel-Nisa, front row seat, watching a couple of legends go at it here. Coming out of the turn 9 hairpin. So Richards up to second place now. And there's Ritter ahead, just a small margin, 1.5 seconds.
No, the Javelin backing it in down there at the last corner. Perfect car control. You would expect nothing less from Gentleman Jim. Seaton, though, still a chance to get second back here. He needs to pounce early.
Conditions absolutely perfect for the Touring Car Masters today. They're big, heavy cars. They don't like the hot conditions. Thankfully, it's not as hot as we predicted at the moment. Just a whisker over 30 degrees here in Adelaide this current time. And the gap comes down, 0.5 second between Ritter and Richards. Time on his side. We work lap 5 of 10.
Think back 11 years ago, Richards was actually racing in Carrera Cup. He won race 2 that weekend, bookended by a no-name young kid from New Zealand called Fabian Coulthard. 11 years later, things worked out okay for that kid from New Zealand.
He goes all right.
Seat just gets a breath of fresh air, tries to get some cooler air through those brake ducts. Front brakes in particular really cry for attention around a track like this. And Abel-Nisa to the outside. Bow doing an amazing job hanging on to 5th here, actually catching these guys with a bent race car
and pulling away from the rest of the field. It's a superhuman effort from car 18 as Eddie Abel-Nisa comes around the Adelaide's cheapest cars Falcon. He chases down Glenn Seaton here in race 2 of the Touring Car Masters. And look now, Richards all over the back of Ritter. The gap is down to 0.9 of a second at the halfway distance mark.
Richards is closing here under brakes, that time by 0.8 of a second. He's been ripping through the field. He can see the leader right there, a couple of car lengths away. Abel-Nisa still hounding the back of the Mustang. And Richards putting that car where he needs to hang on to whatever points he can at the moment. But that is the last 4 laps, that graphic down the bottom. And look at that, on that last one, he took 0.5 second out of him. So he will be on that bumper of the Chevy at the end of the next lap, if not the one after that, should get a good race to the finish here for the lead between Jim Richards and Greg Ritter.
Seaton from here looks like he's driving real defensively to protect the line at the moment. Not sure he maybe have an issue with the Thunder Road Racing Australia entry. A couple of times we've watched him, like right now.
It's probably overheating.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Judging by the way, he's desperate to try and get some fresh air. He'll swing back over to the right-hand side of the track. Albanese does exactly what Jim Richards did, but is he as bold under brakes? Seaton gives him a bit of room to go on with it, but no, Adelaide's cheapest cars, I should say. Entry can't quite sneak up there, and he'll have to wait another lap for another shot, unless he's brave enough to have a go at the last corner. That is a good passing opportunity, especially with big heavy cars. This is it coming up here. You can use the curve at 13 and try and jam it towards the inside of the final corner. Not going to happen there.
Easier said than done.
It definitely is, especially with cars that way. Better part of 2 and a bit ton.
Meantime, the gap continues to seesaw at the front. It goes out to 1.1 seconds between Ritter and Richards. We watch Seaton and Abel Nika drives around him on the pit straight. So maybe a missed gear.
Oh, and Bow had a moment actually down at the centre chicane.
Or is there more to this story?
Yeah.
It's dropped a long way back.
I think this car's got a real heating issue at the moment. Not surprising on a day like today, whether it's brakes or motor. I won't be surprised if that car is really starting to struggle on a hot day, and it's still only early here, not even at lunchtime yet. Bow is all over the back, the babyface assassin.
We'll probably get him before turn 8 here. Thunder Road Racing Australia team that was born out of the Savvy Motorsports stable these days, run by Glenn Seaton Racing, falls back behind Bow now.
Makes it easy for him.
No point trying to argue onto one of the fastest turns in Australian motorsport down here, turn 8. And the Clipsal 500. Look, there's a flame underneath. I saw a whisper of it then from the 30 car.
Really backed off and let Eddie go through there. Whether it's brakes or engine, not too sure, but he's struggling home. Can he get that thing to the finish? That'll be the question. Meanwhile, Fisher thinking about a move on Gomasol, who looks to the outside of King. They're all jammed in behind Freestone. This is good racing. Freestone in 8th. So these guys all fighting for a spot just inside the top 10.
Fisher has made up 9 positions here. He's coming on strong right now. He's starting 20th. The Jesus All About Life Falcon on the back of Gomasol, the I-Seek Tirana. You got Freestone leading this pack. Mark King jammed in between them.
Oh, Fisher thought about that exact move that we're talking about in the last lap. If you can get a good exit at the second last corner, you can really slide her up the inside. A big dive bomb under brakes, but had a look at it. Problem is, the Tirana, a little bit lighter, probably better on its brakes too. Gomasol, on that occasion, manages to hang on to that last spot inside the top 10.
Freestone had a couple of issues during practice and qualifying where he damaged his entry. I love the livery this year. He never turns out a dud-looking race car. And he's been menaced now by Mark King at the top of Wakefield Street. This will stack up the 3 behind him.
They're very different-looking Camaros. Sort of Z-style, Z28 style. Might be Pontiac badged anyway, the King car. As they go turning through. So love watching these Camaros out there. It is Chev badged or Gomasol.
Yeah, he's going to lose his spot here. It was very messy coming out of Hutt Street to run down Bartels Road, but the power of the Tirana, a lot lighter than the big Falcon behind of Fisher. Holds on. Oh, maybe not.
That's a moment. Who's getting a bit hot in the rear end, nearly stepped out on Gomasol. King still not around Freestone, but that's enough for the Jesus Racing XY to sneak on through.
Seriously huge.
Man.
I'll have to go back and pray later on for that one. It's incredible. Right in the middle of turn number 8, and he'll drop behind Fisher, gather his composure.
Oh, what was that rolling across the racetrack? Something came off and looked like Albanese's car. Something went rolling directly across. Could have been a belt or something like that. Either way, Seaton's still lacking here. Oh, it's off Richards' car. Richards is slowing.
Yeah, he's dropped right down the order. I was going to say Abel Nika has moved up to 2nd, and there it is.
I think it spat a belt or something. It went rolling across the racetrack down the front straight. What a shame. He was 2nd and chasing the leader. And a guy who rarely DNFs is about to pull it up and out of the action.
What a shame for Shannon's Insurance entry.
Watch the big javelin. Something spat out from underneath this car, went rolling across the racetrack. We just got the end of it. There it is there. It's coming out now. And it's a belt of some sort. Then Abel Nisa kicks it up and it goes rolling off the racetrack.
Good pickup. We used to see belts coming off of bigger cars and a lot bigger belts. Down into the turn 9 hairpin on board with Greg Ritter. Clear track ahead now.
Just getting the chip there for a little bit as well on the rev limiter. Doing it easy now that... here we go. No. These guys aren't doing it easy.
Side by side at the Adelaide hairpin. Slowest point of this course, and Fisher looks real racy this weekend, doesn't he? Aboard the number 9 Falcon on the back of Mark King. He's been around for a long, long time. Production car experience and GTP racing. Let's Paul Freestone get away with this. And Gomersall waiting to collect a couple of positions here, perhaps.
So leaders have started the final lap. These guys will come by to begin their last journey. Here's a moment. Oh, I thought something was hanging down. It's the exhaust of Stephen Johnson's car. That looked low earlier in the race, and now it's really come loose. Curbs down at turns 1 and 2 won't help. He'll really need to stay off the curbs on the last lap. He'll tear that whole thing off. Last lap here for Ritter. He's been putting in an awesome event.
This car has always been strong, even in the hands of Tony Hunter. Was a regular top 10 runner, the Sunline RV Centre entry. Heading down to turn 8. The gap is 2.5 seconds. It was 4. Unless he makes a mistake, he's looking good here to pick up back-to-back wins in the season opener of the Touring Car Masters.
It's worked out really well for John Bowe. Decided not to pit, and he's going to come home in 3rd position here with problems for Glenn Seaton and also Stephen Richards. Been so used to calling him in Porsches and GTs, but no, it's his dad Jim. That was a little bit close to the wall.
And they have narrowed up that part of the track. He's looking pretty casual now. 3rd gear up to the hairpin. So GRM overalls as well, back to 2nd.
Yeah, well, he shared the car with Robert Dahlgren. That's Bathurst recently in the last few years. And last corner, it's going to be another win for the big chef.
Nice job. Exits the final turn. And Greg Ritter, back-to-back winner here on the streets of Adelaide in the Touring Car Masters. Just over 2 seconds back to Eddie Abel-Nika. John Bowe held on to 3rd position. We talked about the start of the call here. He just needs to keep going to get points. He gets himself a 3rd spot. Meantime, it's not over for position 7.
Fisher's going to get the over-under out of the last corner. Can he get the power down early? Not quite. King should just sneak home for 8th behind Freestone in 7th. Great battle. Those guys all deserving of a top 10. Gomersall in 10th. Oh, the Capri. Wow. Those Hoosiers have left a bit of a mark down there, I'd suggest.
Tough tyres, aren't they? That was Greg Garwood going around.
Uh-oh.
In the Piranha.
Right onto Rusty French. Oh, yes, straight onto it. Jacques Villeneuve style. Remember that one in the Gold Coast?
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
And the crowd loved it down there too. Dropped him down a ton of positions. It matters not as Ritter goes back-to-back wins here in Adelaide. Eddie Abel-Nika on the podium in 2nd. John Bowe 3rd. Midiki 4th. Seaton, Johnson. Back to Freestone, King, Fisher and Gomersall. That's how they finished inside the top 10. In race number 2, back to Garwood, Benson, Rusty French 14th. Adam Garwood back in 17th and Jim Richards at DNF back in 20th.